Good morning. Excuse me. I haven't been awake that long, so I'm like relearning how to talk all over again. Good morning. This is Carolyn, and I really have no idea what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. That's kind of been my ongoing theme, though, for a long time. Anyway, today I am going to put out some more stuff if it's not raining. Just stuff that I was selling on eBay that has not sold. I obviously do not want to put it out there if it's going to get rained on. And also, I like to actually give some of these kittens to people as opposed to taking them to a shelter. I would really like to give them to somebody who would want one. Little gray fluffs, medium, short to medium hair, I would believe. It's hard to tell at this point because they're only a couple months old. But I think they're done nursing for the most part. Maybe all but one of them is. They kind of grow and develop on their own in different paces. But I do want to circle back as a woman sent me a text about I have an ongoing ad that says if you're a person who needs a friend to talk to that is not going to judge you, if you have something important on your mind that you want to discuss and you need someone objective to speak to, because I thought, there's a lot of lonely, isolated people that maybe just want to share with somebody and they don't quite want to call the 800 numbers and get their information committed into a hotline that'll come and get you and land you in a mental institution for calling, or because sometimes that's who returns your call, or they don't want to commit 10% of their income to a church or something. But because no matter what my intentions were, and they were good intentions, I had this is a person, I'd almost have to go back. I've had the ad ongoing for years, and this is a person who has kept tabs on me for years. It's not a new situation. I know this because I have not really been compliant. After I got the first call where somebody was saying that they were abducting homeless people, I had been watching it. I didn't act like I did much about it because I wanted them to call back. But it's actually not just one single person. There's possibly 3, definitely 2. This has been ongoing for over 10 years. And yes, it's the same person or persons, that had also sent me a bunch of satanic stuff and made all kinds of claims to have harnessed the power of Satan and all this and that. But, the people that make those claims, this particular person isn't even in good enough health to leave the house, in a worse situation than my husband is. In fact, I think this person is also tied to the military. I don't know, because they've told me many different stories, but the story that they have told me when they were supposedly trapping homeless people is they had a driving job, and there is no way that was a possibility. It was a person that sounded like they listened to too many Reddits, or they fancied themselves to be Stephen King type material, and they were just putting some fiction out there. But that's never really a good idea. But people are logical. If a person thinks that they're going to play boogeyman with you and tell you that they're harnessing the power of Satan, the first thing you might want to ask themselves is, if you could fix things like that and you had power, why wouldn't you first fix yourself so that you wouldn't have all these health issues? And here's kind of another issue, and it may not be very nice of me to point this out, but, and while this person obviously has a very creative mind, and I shouldn't even, this will be the last time, I don't really want to keep addressing them, because here's the problem with addressing this person, even on this type of small platform. It's feeding them, feeding their egos, giving them supply to even have to circle back around and mention them. The only thing is, because when I mentioned what they were telling me they were doing, it alarmed a woman who has a couple of children that sometimes go through that homeless cycle, and she really was concerned that I was not doing enough about it. Well, I'm not going to make the offer anymore in the future, so this person's going to have to find another way to bother me. But, you know, I am quite aware. There's actually, and the other person has many, many phone numbers, but you can get many, and some of them don't cost very much at all. So calls just from a whole lot of different numbers, even from different states, all within the United States. You know, and that's an awful lot of energy to put into, yeah, just messing up somebody's day and playing games. Because seriously, there's probably a person in isolation and they want to call and talk, but they're thinking, man, there's just too much going on over there, and now I'm not so sure if my phone call will be private. No, it won't. And even though I don't talk about it all the time, this has been ongoing for me, this boogeyman type of person. And just the other day, there was one of those socks that you use to cover your regular shoes on the back porch. And yeah, I'm trying to tell myself, okay, there was a lot of wind and rain. I'm not really sure how a sock managed to fly up to the porch or get washed up to the back porch, up 8 stairs onto the porch. But then I have to think about that. You know, how did that sock get there? Why is it there? See, it's having a unpleasant impact on everybody. And I am just not going to make that offer anymore. That if I know you and you do want to call, because I hate to say that. I hate to honestly say, if you want to speak to someone privately, that I wouldn't be there to talk. But all of this has just gotten too crazy. But you know, that's what is, and this is the same, at least same 2 people. And as far as I know, they don't know of each other. IT and one of them, and I mentioned this before, it seems as if they may have ties to working on the police department. Well, you know, those guys see nothing but the drug of society. They're probably bitter and half crazy. By the time they put enough years into that profession, then yeah, they're gonna call and share the madness. But the way it appears, this person doesn't have the physical health to really do anything to anybody, which may be to play armchair shrink. The reason that they reach out in this way, because it's maybe even a little anger under there, you know, they're thinking, all right, Miss Sunshine, let's take a crap on your day. Well, thank you very much. You have now for years. And, you know, and they do things like claim to hack into your websites and I know at least somebody had been trying to do that, because I keep getting those texts and even emails that say, are you attempting to change your passcode and things like that. So it's kind of silly, because, you know, like, I don't have a huge following or anything like that, you know, and my hands are kind of full. You know, my husband is a disabled veteran, and I've mentioned this before, and, you know, he's about half crazy. We're not bears probably you should be poking anyway, because long before I even made a video about this, and I had made sure that I could track the person or persons that had been calling in long before I mentioned. That's how I know exactly who it is. So I can tell the lady that I'm not saying it's good for your kids to be homeless and out there even in the summer months, but it isn't this clownfish that's bothering them if somebody is, okay? And I'm probably going to think a long time before I make that offer again. But these particular, at least two people, and there may actually be a third person, and as far as I know, they're not affiliated, but the third person is just somebody that I disagreed with politically that has called and done a couple of things, you know. I don't know why we don't ever come to the mindset that it would be so much better if we found a common ground as opposing each other. You know, we'd be stronger as a team, you know, as opposed to let's do things to sabotage each other. But I know I've said that before, and yeah, I don't hide it. I'm on the R team, but I am not closed-minded. You know, you got to be vigilant in that, you know, you don't give politicians a pass. And honestly, no matter which one is in charge, their lives are a million miles from the average person. My son and I had that conversation. Whoever is elected really cannot relate to how insurmountable life is for just an average person. Anyway, I'm going to go on that. I'm not as unhappy as it might seem or as concerned. Yeah, I know, but I don't kind of want to continue with, if I get a sock on the back porch, trying to obsess on what it means or what it doesn't mean and take it and, you know, look for fingerprints or something dumb like that. I don't want to worry about that. I don't want to worry about if there's somebody out walking at night that I need to get up and turn on the lights and do all of that. You know, but you also, I guess, don't want to say that it's nothing. But anyway, if you want someone to talk to, probably you should call a local church, because I don't know that I'm going to be picking up the phone many more times. Anyway, thank you for stopping in and have a blessed day.